My name is David Soma. I'm an independent filmmaker, and I live on the West Coast. Yeah, there's a surprise, I know. In 2009, I went back east to visit my folks. As luck would have it, my brother was participating in the Special Olympics the day after I got there. And so I grabbed my camcorder, and yeah, it was on. 7 minutes, there we go. I had 7. Special Olympics, Rhode Island, well, it took place right here on the campus of the University of Rhode Island. And about 1,500 participants, the Olympians who descended on the campus and who had quite a show. They participated in everything from swimming to racing to bowling, believe it or not. As fate would have it, I arrived in the town of Kingston, Rhode Island the day before the event began. I only had 3 days to finish research on the film project I was assigned to, but my old partner Charles Jr. was going to be competing in the Special Olympics, and I wanted to make sure I was there, camcorder in hand. I talked with Joni Longsack, his trainer, and the athletic director of the LaPlante School of Kingston, Rhode Island, where he attends. They look forward to it, and they're really pumped up for it, aren't they?
They are, and the thing with our agency is we don't let just anybody compete. You have to train to go. So everybody puts the time in for their events to go to Olympics.
Sure, most of you have heard the hype about the Special Olympics, but to be here, to listen to the conversations between the athletes, their hopes, their dreams for a big win on a big weekend, it kind of makes it personal. For them, for their family, for the spectators, for everybody. The Special Olympics is celebrated worldwide, but it was started by a member of a very rich family here in New England. It was started by Eunice Kennedy Shriver.
Eunice Shriver was sister to John F. Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, Ted Kennedy, and the second oldest of the Kennedy sisters, and there was a retarded daughter in the family who was her older sister, and Eunice and this daughter, Rosemary, were very, very close. And unfortunately, and that's a long story in itself, you know, how the family treated Rosemary. Frankly, I think that for a wealthy family, they were very, very progressive because they kept Rosemary at home. She went to school. They tried to make sure she lived as normal a life as possible. They didn't hide her away or give her away to anybody else. However, Rosemary did have problems as she grew up, and Joseph Kennedy thought that a lobotomy would help, and people were doing that stuff in the 1940s, and he wanted to surprise the family, which he did, but not the way he wanted to, and it turned out to be a horrible tragedy. So Rosemary ended up, you know, being institutionalized. However, Eunice was always close to Rosemary, and she would bring Rosemary back to the house to visit, you know, every year. And then, I don't know whether Rosemary was involved, I doubt it, but Eunice was the one who started the Special Olympics, and it started out in her backyard, and it grew from there.
The opening ceremony of the Rhode Island Special Olympics took place right here at the University of Rhode Island. It took place on a Friday night, and what a Friday night it was.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The Special Olympics Rhode Island State Summer Games will include nearly 1,500 athletes, 500 coaches, 600 volunteers, and over 3,000 family members and friends.
The Olympians consider themselves to be pretty lucky, not only to get to play in these games, but on the weekend they're happening, they get to stay in the dorms here at the University of Rhode Island. But one of the best things the Special Olympians seem to like about this event is the promenade. They march into the stadium proudly as friends and family watch and cheer. There are many work and training centers represented here, and each center has its own uniform. My brother Charles attends the LaPlante Center in Peacedale, and their uniforms are purple. Their athletic director is Joni Longsack.
This was probably one of our most exciting years because our cyclists We had one rider win 10K, and that was the first time he ever did that. We had 59 bowlers participate, and all of them came home with medals. Travis Torgy won the most inspirational bowler for his high scores that he got. Our soccer team took a second in the tournament, and we're one of the older teams, so that was quite an accomplishment. And our weightlifters, we had 5 weightlifters, and 4 of them set personal best scores, and 2 of them broke state records.
My brother Charles was one of those who brought home a medal. He likes to ride, but this year he was entered in bowling. Professor Donna Gilton is a PhD of Library Sciences at URI. She's also my older sister and Charles's twin.
Charles bowls. However, Charles has a history in the sense that he's been in Special Olympics. He was in it in his early 20s, then he was in it again when we were in Pennsylvania in the late 80s, and he's been in it ever since.
Donna didn't tell Charles I was coming to New England from California, so I got a chance to surprise him.
Yeah.
Hey, Charles.
Okay, Betty wants me to remind everyone it's the birthday to his. Happy birthday, Betty.
And that's it. Later that night after the promenade, I took these videos of the motorcyclist volunteers who come in support of the Special Olympics. They come every year, and what a show they put on. Here's just a little bit of footage of that. I'm David Selma. I want to thank you for watching.